Hello, this is Darrell James Hill, Ohio, and KR et al. I am the President for the United States of America, 1787 AD. I'm an acting officer. I'm a commander, and I'm the President of the United States of 1863, acting officer, chief commander in chief. And it's important that I continue to talk out these matters. And this document here before you, is dealing with trustors and trusts. Two more documents follow. So this is one of three. The first one, which I'll entitle it one of three, is Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, but referencing the whole Bible. Concession 1213, which follows, and that's in 1213 AD. And the Declaration of Independence, DOI, it should be 1776. Pardon me, there's an error there. I'll correct that before I put it on site. Okay, so it's a Constitution covenant, okay, and it's in the dot before the trusters means of trusters. Now, trusts are set up in a certain way, and so to identify the parties, we have to start off with state and standing. State is actually called status. It's referred to as status, but it means state. State is either live or dead. So the status, here or there, the state of trusters dealing with people and obligations is alive. And the standing would then be of the persons or characters who are alive, what is their right and authority and position in the community. Okay, so for all three of these, the Torah, the Concession 1213, the Declaration of Independence, which is the Constitution for the United States of America in 1776, in the American Revolutionary War era, is the God of the Torah, and that is the Son, the God of the Father, the God of the Son, which is Yeshua the Messiah. He is the covenanter of the Declaration of Independence. That is the law of the land. Okay, so, and then the other covenanter are the live people who were around at 1776, and those who were around at 1776, coming under the Concession 1213, that's what that is, live people of the Concession 1213 beneficiary. That's Jacob, Israel, Jacob or Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Holy Church of the Messiah, Yeshua, and that's most people refer to as Jesus. I filed what's called a political election. That the Declaration of Independence is a political election. Okay, it's a politic election. So it has to do. So it's a PE is sovereignty or sovereign 1776 in trusters of the States of America. S of A is States of America colonies for the United States of America 1776 AD. People, heirs of the law, Torah, writings, and prophets, and that is embodied in Concession 1213. Okay, and I put common due process because that comes in there, but I didn't list it. It does have to do with the process by which address of the problems have to be identified, addressed appropriately to the proper authority. And if you read the Declaration of Independence, which is probably 1,000 words of 2 pages, maybe 1.5, that's what it begins to talk about. And you can see due process in there, where they say, well, given these bad things that are happening, we can do bad by ourselves. We'll set this up, and they set a country into motion. Okay, the law. So their status, their standing, the parties that are able to create a contract. And then the law they have to determine. The law here is a covenant of Torah, which is already done in the writings. And the law of self-determination, because that is the right of everyone under the law of Concession 1213. Okay? Okay, the decree and declaration, which is also mentioned in the Declaration of Independence of what man and the citizenry and the state members would have to do in case the events reoccurred, is to decree and declare, and that's why I did so. But Declaration of Independence, Constitution, Covenant of the sovereign trusters. The sovereign trusters are those people who are choosing their own freedom and self-determination that makes you sovereign. And the sovereignty didn't come from government. The sovereignty came because that's what the Messiah Yeshua set in place. And as far back as the Torah and the 1213, the 13th century, they were respecting that because they were in possession of the records that establish it through history. Though you don't have them, they do. Okay, so The ID then is US of A. It's the Constitution Republic. That means that they set it up. There are some rules you have to follow. And re means again, and public means the people. So the people are supposed to run this country. And that's why you keep seeing this we the people, for the people, by the people type of a thing. Okay, so the ID, the US of A, came about from the States of America, the United States of America. America, the ARW is American Revolutionary War of 1775. It started, Declaration started after that, and AOC in 1778. AOC is Articles of Confederation. That meant that we're going to be free, everybody's free, and we're all going to band together in the states. And it's one way in and no way out. So that's why you got to, sometimes there's tension around that. That was all cemented together in 1782 to 1783 in something called the Treaty of Peace. Okay, 1782 and 1783. So that equals the US of A is a sovereign nation. Okay, and the name of the people, the name of those people that were doing that are United States. States means live people with God. That's what it means. United States of America. They've come together. So the service of the United States of America by the government, GFT USA is government for the United States of America, 1776, of the Declaration of Independence. Initially, obviously, it started with sovereigns because the Constitution under which organizations that are governmental organizations would operate weren't in place until 1787. Okay? That's kind of like what happened. So the Declaration of Independence of 1776 is the Constitution Covenant for all live man, people, heirs of the Declaration of Independence of 1776 Constitutional Covenant. So as the United States of America, state, country, man, settler, grantor, wards, or sovereigns, that's what they have, is that the people who were setting it up were trusters. Okay, that was the people who were alive and the adults. The children are still babies, so they're in underage, they're settlers, and later to grow up and they become grantors. Now, in those two categories, you have wards or sovereigns. There's no middle ground. If you're a baby or incompetent, you're a ward. If you're mature and oriented and living out the choices in your life, then you are a sovereign, executor, beneficiary, responsible party for the Constitution Covenant and with the allegiance. Okay, that's a sovereign. You're born that way. It's your country. You're supposed to maintain allegiance to your country. My country is Ohio. My Ohio state of peace persons become into a country which would with all the other countries into what is a nation, and the nation is what you refer to as the United States of America. Okay, so but all the states individually are countries individual of the other. Okay, with their own administrations. So from 1776 until they got the Constitution set up in 1787, they had that's when you had the sovereigns basically running it. Those are the people who set it all up, and they were not being employed in any way by an organization to run the government. In 1787, when the Constitution got going, until 1933, the Constitution for the United States of America had been operated by citizens, and citizens were state citizens. Okay, they were state citizens referred to in the Constitution that of the 1787, and they worked, and that was all that was there at the time. So no one else was there. That's them. That was they were of state habitation, and they also had allegiance because they have direct allegiance to the state that they live in, the continent they live in, and the Declaration of Independence, which is the inheritance tying it all together, foundationing it and tying it all together. In 1933, with the drop in the stock market, and until 2003, the administration of the government was being operated by foreign agents. They're called bar agents because of the New Deal. The BCA is the Bank Conservation Act of 1933, but most of us, and I, refer to it as the Emergency Banking Act because they made it an emergency and that stuck. But what happened is it was all premeditated. So the bar then was responsible because the bar is from the concession 1213. They're from the British Crown. Their headquarters and origin actually is in London, which is a city-state, just like Washington or Rome. So, okay, so the bar is subject to the Concession 1213 and due process and the Declaration of Independence of 1776. They signed up to make sure that your rights are protected, that your duty for life, liberty, property, and happiness to the beneficiary is protected and provided. That's what their job was, because the corporation that was exiting at the time of 1933 and what was going on was bankrupt. The people were not bankrupt. The corporation, the corporation, which at the time was called United States of America Corp, was bankrupt. Okay, so the people then, without their knowledge, had been basically swindled into a deal that made them surety for the 70 years until 2003. Yes, 2003, 21 years ago, 2003. So 2003 to now, 2024, the reason why you see all of this stuff going on, and the bar and the bar attorneys are still, they haven't turned the trust back. It's a naked fraud by the bar and traders of the government. Okay, that's very important for you to know in order that you can now make a determination. I can't understand why they're doing this. Well, they're traders. You know, you have to be honest about it. It was over in 2003. They're saying, well, nobody stood up. That's a lie. I stood up in 2005. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was saying something's wrong here. Can we address it? But they did not do so. Instead, they penalized anybody who asked questions about what was going on, because they wanted to maintain control over your lives. And they are so invested that they would open up the borders and just let people flood over here to ad nauseum until they choke out us. They're trying to create a crisis, and in their process of what they would call a subversion program. You have to learn about that. You can look it up on YouTube. A fellow named Yuri Bezmenov. He came over as a Russian defector, but he taught us about it, and that's the process they've been following. They use crisis, and they have this model: never waste a good crisis, because they're trying to take over the government. Being done by the Bar Association and other organizations, maybe even the Freemasonry and other secret organizations that spawn off of those types of accesses for specialty, secret private interests to destroy the country. But that is a situation the bar attorneys are under threat for. So, but they've also been deceived. So that's what's going on. The document number 2 is a real simple document. It will begin to discuss the basic format of a trust, and therefore what this should amount to in the doings by any of the service groups, the sovereigns, state citizens, bar agents of past before 2003, and anybody working in government and bar agents right now. Right now they're unlawful. They're absolutely in fraud. Straight up fraud. So you just have to know that. And if they don't believe that, or they have a different opinion, then you can ask them, well, wasn't the trust over in 2003? Well, then why didn't you give our money back? Okay. Shalom. Please look for the second document. I'll get that and call it 2 of 3 of the trust, something like that. Okay. Shalom. Blessing.